For 4 years Aslan Uaziati has been trying to awaken people to a spiritual growth in consciousness and to encourage them to act before an important event that is inevitably approaching, and which everyone alive today will face.
Писал сотням блогеров, обращался к храмовникам, к известным людям, пытался разбудить, рассказать людям, чтобы узнали о дарах Творца.
The event will be explained further. Listen to the translation of his final appeal to humanity, and make your own decision.
My time is coming to an end, which means that the messenger is coming soon. I am guilty before the Almighty, because in almost 4 years I haven't managed to awaken the majority of the people of this world to accept his gift and fulfill his will. This wild world has still not learned to hear the true messengers. Instead, many people read the texts that were corrupted by the inhumans. Those who have true faith and hear the message about the gift of God would study this information to check for themselves whether it's true or not. When you start reading the book, don't go straight to the tables. If you don't study the first texts carefully, you won't understand the Almighty's purpose in revealing the book. After considering the degree of absoluteness of the tables, you will realize that without the help of the Almighty, I alone would not have been able to reveal the secret of the 33 number keys and the divine system for creating the tables, as well as other secrets that were closed at a certain time. This book was sent down by our Father to strengthen your faith so that you fulfill His will.
5 miracles were revealed on earth since 2019. The first miracle. The revealed book with the 7 golden lampstands.
In 2019, in Russia, in the Caucasus, by the will and with the help of the Almighty, I opened the predicted book. From this I took out the 7 golden lampstands, which are the 7 sacred tables. This means that the teaching time is over and the exam time has begun. The will of God was manifested for fulfillment, to unite and stop all wars. The majority of people themselves must unite, without conflicts with the authorities, without chaos, without waiting for someone from above to give them the command and for a leader to appear to organize everything. In this last time, which is called the end times, in the Holy Scriptures, everyone must act as their conscience tells them, without looking to those in authority and without waiting for others to take the first step. This is the will of the Almighty, the one God for all people. The matrix of the divine program is designed to accept the choice of the majority. If most people remain on the side of darkness with their ungodliness, disunity and indifference, then that is the choice of the majority. If the majority unites through common actions and thus sides with the light, then the divine program accepts this choice. And then no power will be able to prevent the salvation of the world and the transition to a new cycle. That is the law of the universe. The Almighty gives the choice to every soul and to the entire civilization, but the decision must be made by people themselves. This is His absolute justice. But the world still ignores the will of God, so natural disasters are increasing. However, this is not a punishment from above, but rather it's the word itself that attracts the earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, diseases and nastiness of the inhumans. A world that remains on the side of darkness reaps problems from the dark side.
The second miracle, a coded message from ancient calendars, a hint from a crop circle from an extraterrestrial civilization, and the fulcrum mechanism.
The book that I opened was encoded in the ancient calendars from different peoples for more than 5,000 years. Some calendars contained the keys to the book, others the contents of the book. By deciphering the secret part of the calendars, God showed the evidence of himself so that his will could be fulfilled. Then I took the same book from a crop circle. This crop circle was created in 2006 in England in the county of Wiltshire. It was made by representatives of another world. They also had an exam time, had their own precursor who opened this book to them, and a messenger from a higher world. Their world has passed the exam, which means that this civilization has entered a new cycle of development. This gave them the opportunity to help our world by pointing out that our fate is connected with this book and the fulfillment of the will of God. They knew that the time of a complete cycle of our civilization was coming to an end, which means that the book will also be revealed to us and the exam time will begin. They knew about it, that's why they created the crop circle in advance. From another crop circle I deciphered the secret of the fulcrum mechanism. If humanity manages to free itself from influence of the inhumans in time, there will still be time left to use the joint efforts of all countries to construct a flying object, with the help of which natural disasters can be reduced, and the impending pole shift of the Earth prevented.
The principle of the fulcrum mechanism.
Draw an axis to which a rod is attached. There is a load at the end of the rod. The rod rotates around the axis. The same rod must also be attached to the other end of the axis. Both rods are in opposite directions and move towards each other. The movement occurs at high speed in the top half of the circle. As long as the loads of the rods are moving in this part of the circle, the whole mechanism has a traction forward. The loads of the rods continue to move in the top part of the circle, almost approaching the opposite ends of the drawn horizontal line that divides the circle into two equal parts. At this stage, the mechanism rotates quickly by 180 degrees. The movement of the rods is unaffected, so they continue the rotation without stopping for a moment. In this case, both loads only ever move on one half of the circle since they make full rotations around the axis. This means that the thrust will always go in a certain direction. The flying object can stand still without relying on the external environment, air, water, earth, because it is powered solely by the mechanism. The Earth is much more likely to move away from the flying object than for the fulcrum to move. However, our world still ignores the gift of God and remains on the side of darkness with its ungodliness, disunity, and indifference. Even the bloggers are silent about the message from above. They tell the truth in their YouTube videos but lead the world into the abyss with their truth. The silence of bloggers, journalists, politicians, and churchmen about the gift of God is due to their weak soulish level and their indifference towards other people and the world. Many people who hear about the gift of God through numerous videos, articles, and social media posts do not pass on this message to other people. The activities of a small group of volunteers are not enough to inform the whole world. The fact that people walk past this message suggests that the soulish level of humanity is very weak. Increasing natural disasters and man-made disasters as well as military and religious conflicts in different countries are already intensifying so much that the people who listen to the voice of the Almighty, their conscience, cannot remain silent about the gift of God.
The third miracle. The temple not made by human hands from the 7 golden lampstands.
According to the will of the Almighty, I have built a temple from the 7 golden lampstands taken out from the last book for our world. Since then, the time until the impending arrival of the messenger of God has been running out. New frequencies have intensified even more, causing the dark souls to become dumber and more brutal and the bright souls to become more intelligent and stronger. Jesus once said that he could build the temple in 3 days if the old temple were destroyed. But he was not understood and laughed at. The old temple Jesus spoke of is the old world worshipping the golden calf. The new temple is the personification of a new world, a new home into which Jesus will welcome those who follow the man carrying a jug of water. The water jug means the age of Aquarius. The man who leads to the house is the one who opens the book and builds the temple. This is the one whose head was served on a platter at Herod's table like the head of a lamb. My encounter with Jesus at the river meant that our next assignments would be fulfilled in the age of Aquarius. The meeting meant the completion of my assignment and the beginning of the fulfillment of the assignment by Jesus. Jesus was not the slain lamb and was not crucified either. The fact that Jesus supposedly opens the book was invented to prevent me, his precursor, from being heard, lest you look into the revealed book to see the gift from above and fulfill the will of the Almighty. Also the name and the nationality of the messenger, his appearance and the manner of his appearance were invented in different religions so that you won't recognize him when the time comes. Then the inhumans and their servants will raise up against Jesus those who have not grown up to their own conclusion and their own will and thus remained at the level of humanoid biorobots, who are too lazy to think with their own minds and independently analyze what is happening in the world. The exam time will end on the day Jesus shows his power. I say the churchmen, you are thousands. Stand between the opposing sides and send the soldiers home. They will listen to you and many people will support you with tears of joy. Wake up and fulfill the will of the Almighty. I have seen worlds that have failed the exam. Forest animals roamed the cities and people lay on the streets, immobilized by terrible diseases. Everything was destroyed. In these worlds, the sprouted souls went to a new world while the rest crumbled into dust. It's a lie that our world is doomed. It will happen as the majority chooses. Wake up and awaken others. Whoever does not awaken others is not awakened himself because he is not fulfilling the will of God.
The fourth miracle. The eight-pointed star.
By the will of the Almighty, I took out the eight-pointed star from the 7 sacred tables, 7 golden lampstands. From then on began the period of transition of the worthy to the new world, which once again confirms the approach of the Last Judgment. The new frequencies have intensified even more and the natural disasters that the world has attracted by its ungodliness, disunity and inaction have further intensified. This is the building block of the world. Although it consists of 9 8-rayed units, the number of corners on each outer side is 7. It's precisely these 7 corners that show the perfect wholeness of the smallest complex. As the 8-pointed star consists of 3 main symbols, so a complete small cycle also shows these 3 symbols that are known to our world since ancient times. Any number of complete complexes show not only these 3 most important sun signs, the octagon, the hexagon, and the equilateral cross, but also other signs. The octagon is the main sun sign and is revered by all peoples of the world and in every religion. Since ancient times, it has been believed that the revelation of the secret of the octagon is associated with the period of transition from the old world to the new. We are already living in this time. Here is an example of how the 8-pointed star is taken out from the 7 golden lampstands using a subsection of a table. The stars can be taken out from the tables not only using the repeating digits of the numbers, but also using the 3 digits number keys. In this example, these are the three main keys: 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8, and 3, 6, 9.
The fifth miracle, the mystery of the sacred cube, Kaaba.
The mystery of the sacred cube, taken out from the 7 golden lampstands of the book, was also revealed. Each part of the cube consists of 9 8-pointed stars that form a small cycle. 6 such cycles form the 6 outer sides of the cube, inside which there are 6 more such cycles. In total there are 12 cycles, consisting of 108 8-pointed stars. The next two quantities consist, respectively, of 27 and 125 cubes. The digital roots of these first three quantities result in the number 198, the number of the Trinity. 1. The Almighty. 9. The Universe. 8. The Eternity. All the following three quantities also show the number 198. The complete mystery of the properties of the cube Kaaba will be revealed in time. The least the cube will give is free energy from the ether. In Mecca, 7 stones are kept in the Kaaba temple. It's assumed that the remaining stones were lost. But there were no other stones, only these 7, indicating the 7 golden lampstands from the revealed Book of the Almighty. The Kaaba temple is a prediction of the future temple not made by human hands, built in the age of Aquarius. You can see 4 points, from each of which 12 lines emanate, that is 12 rays. We draw 2 squares through these 4 points. In the middle of the squares, we draw 2 more smaller squares. These 2 small squares form an octagon. Now compare the received drawing from the sacred tables with the drawing Rub al-Hizb. The octagon Rub al-Hizb is the element that Muslims have preserved at the center of the divine sun sign of the 8-pointed star. Just as Jesus spoke of a man with a jug of water, indicating the age of Aquarius, so the Prophet Muhammad said that he would meet the worthy by the water, which also means the age of Aquarius. The most important prophecies described in the sacred texts of various peoples and religions have come true. Even rivers flowed through the sandy desert of Arabia, bringing the vegetation to life. Not much time is left until the Judgment Day. If the world has not reached the required soulish level and people have not grown up to understand with their own minds what is happening, and if everyone doesn't take the necessary actions to help those who are not awake to wake up, then many will not recognize the messenger, who will come and preach for a while, and then show his power. But once he shows his power, it will be too late to recognize him. The Judgment Day will take place. The decision of the world is in the hands of the world, in the hands of every individual who lives today. Make your personal choice now, between light and darkness, between dust and eternity. The most important thing is to look into the revealed book, because it's not mine, but was revealed through me by the Almighty. Now only your choice determines the outcome of your path. That's what the exam time is for. Turn to the Almighty with the only true prayer, in your own words. Stop reading other people's prayer texts that have separated you from the only sacred prayer. You will feel joy, and even tremble all over, especially when you pray with your own words, for the first time. Although the scriptures say not to worship idols, some of you worship painted images, and a wooden idol with the image of Jesus, symbolically devouring his body, and drinking his blood, as the churchmen teach. If you were to look at these actions with your mind, you would feel sick. You have not built a single church and mosque in honor of the Almighty, but in the name of the people, and have placed over them the symbol of the elongated cross, and the symbol of darkness, the crescent. You believe lying bloggers, politicians, and churchmen of various religions, but you haven't yet asked yourself the question, if they tell the truth, why are they silent about the gift of God for salvation? You haven't even grown up to call on the churchmen to end the wars. Either you don't hear them, or you believe them when they tell you about humility and patience, but not about the unity of all people against the abyss. You hear the gentle speeches of false prophets about quantum leaps and the fact that you are almost gods yourself, but you don't hear the message from above. You have been told to recognize liars by their actions, but you don't recognize them. What further help and evidence do you need from the Almighty to awaken? Each of the 5 miracles mentioned above could not have manifested ahead of time and without the will and help of the Almighty. This is the exam for every soul and the whole world to see the obvious. You don't just have to manage to wake up in time, but also to develop the flying object using the fulcrum mechanism in order not to die due to the increasing natural disasters and the pole shift of the earth. Arm yourself with love for children. Accept the gift of God and fulfill His will, to save yourself, your children and the whole world. Let your own will grow within you to make your personal decision. The most faithful advisor is the voice of the Almighty, the conscience. Those who subordinate the voice of their reason and conscience to the speeches and instructions of the authorities are unawakened souls, who have remained at the level of humanoid animals. Feel the joy out of respect for our Father and fulfill His will, the only creator of all things, the one God for all peoples. I say this not out of anger at your unreason, but out of concern for your souls. Make it in time to liberate the world before the coming of God's messenger. With love, Aslan Uaziati.
Download the books for free in several languages.